For many years the electric vehicle industry has been guided by a simple assumption that almost everyone accepted as fact: if you want extremely long driving range, you must use nickel-rich lithium-ion batteries such as nickel-manganese-cobalt or nickel-cobalt-aluminum. These chemistries have long been considered the premium solution because they offer higher energy density, meaning a battery of the same weight can store more electricity. More stored energy directly translates into more driving range, which has always been one of the most important factors for convincing consumers to switch from gasoline vehicles to electric ones. In contrast, lithium iron phosphate batteries, commonly known as LFP batteries, have traditionally been viewed as the more economical option. They are cheaper to produce, more durable over time, and generally safer because they are far less likely to overheat or catch fire. However, the trade-off has always been their lower energy density, which typically results in shorter range. That is why LFP batteries have usually been used in budget or mid-range electric vehicles rather than premium long-range models. Even companies that frequently use LFP batteries, such as Tesla in the standard versions of some of its vehicles, still rely on nickel-rich batteries for models that require the longest range. Because of this long-standing industry logic, many engineers and analysts were shocked when a new LFP battery was tested in an electric vehicle and reportedly achieved a driving range of 652 miles, or more than 1,000 kilometers, on a single charge. The idea that an LFP battery could power a car that far seemed to contradict years of engineering assumptions that had guided the development of modern electric vehicles. Yet the data coming from new vehicles suggests that this remarkable performance may already be a reality, and the company responsible for this breakthrough is BYD with its latest generation Blade battery. To understand why this development has attracted so much attention, it is important to look at the history of battery technology in electric vehicles. For most of the past decade, nickel-manganese-cobalt and nickel-cobalt-aluminum batteries have been considered the gold standard for high-performance EVs. Their higher energy density allowed manufacturers to pack more energy into a relatively compact battery pack, giving vehicles longer driving range without dramatically increasing weight. In comparison, LFP batteries were known for advantages such as lower cost, longer lifespan, and better safety characteristics, but their lower energy density meant that achieving the same range required a larger and heavier battery pack. Because of this limitation, the industry generally treated LFP as a practical solution for affordable cars rather than a technology capable of competing with premium battery chemistries. That perception began to change when BYD introduced its Blade battery design, a new approach to LFP battery construction that focused not only on chemistry but also on structural efficiency. The Blade battery uses a unique cell design that differs significantly from the traditional block-shaped battery cells commonly used in many electric vehicles. Instead of compact rectangular or cylindrical cells, the Blade battery uses long, thin cells shaped like blades. These cells are arranged directly inside the battery pack structure without relying on numerous intermediate modules. By eliminating many of the components that normally sit between the cells and the battery pack housing, this design reduces wasted space and increases the proportion of materials that actually store energy. As a result, even if the energy density of the LFP chemistry itself does not dramatically increase, the overall energy density of the battery pack can still improve substantially. In other words, the innovation lies not only in chemistry but also in architecture. BYD's new generation Blade battery appears to push this concept even further. In vehicles such as the Denza Z9 GT, the reported driving range under the CLTC testing standard exceeds 1,000 kilometers, or approximately 652 miles. That number is extraordinary because ranges of this magnitude were previously associated only with extremely large battery packs or theoretical projections that were difficult to achieve in real-world driving. What makes the achievement even more interesting is that the battery pack used in these vehicles is not extraordinarily large by modern EV standards. The capacity is around 122 kilowatt-hours, which is certainly significant but not unprecedented. Several high-end electric vehicles already use battery packs in that range. If the battery size is comparable to other vehicles, then how can the driving range increase so dramatically? The answer lies in several different improvements working together rather than a single breakthrough. The first factor is the overall efficiency of the entire vehicle system. An electric vehicle's range does not depend only on the battery, it also depends on how efficiently the vehicle uses the stored energy. This includes the efficiency of the electric motors, the power electronics, the battery management system, aerodynamics, and the overall weight of the vehicle. BYD has been optimizing its vehicle architecture in multiple ways, including the use of advanced manufacturing technologies such as gigacasting. This technique allows large sections of a vehicle's frame to be cast as a single piece rather than assembled from dozens or even hundreds of smaller components. Reducing the number of parts can significantly decrease weight while also increasing structural rigidity. A lighter and more rigid vehicle requires less energy to move, which improves efficiency and ultimately extends driving range. The second factor involves improvements in battery pack design. The new Blade battery uses space more efficiently than earlier designs by minimizing the number of intermediate components and maximizing the proportion of energy-storing materials. This means that even if the energy density of the individual battery cells increases only slightly, the energy density of the entire pack can rise significantly. The third factor may be the most intriguing: advances in thermal management and battery chemistry. According to available information, the energy density of the new Blade battery cells themselves has increased by only around 5%. Yet the overall driving range improvement is estimated to be between 20 and 25%. Such a large difference suggests that there may be additional optimizations in the battery management system or internal material structure that have not been fully disclosed publicly. If these results are confirmed in real-world conditions, the implications could be enormous. One of the biggest psychological barriers preventing some consumers from adopting electric vehicles has been range anxiety, the fear that a car might not have enough range to complete long journeys. When an EV can travel over 1,000 kilometers on a single charge, that concern begins to fade almost completely. Achieving such long range with LFP batteries could also dramatically change the cost structure of electric vehicles. Nickel and cobalt, which are used in many high-energy battery chemistries, are expensive materials with supply chains that can be unstable. LFP batteries rely on iron and phosphate, which are far more abundant and less costly. If manufacturers can achieve premium performance using these cheaper materials, the overall cost of electric vehicles could fall significantly. This illustrates an interesting paradox in technological development. Sometimes the most powerful innovation is not the invention of an entirely new technology but the optimization of an existing one that was previously underestimated. However, the long driving range of BYD's new battery is only part of the story. The other feature attracting massive attention is its charging speed. Across many technology platforms, discussions about BYD's battery technology often focus on an astonishing claim: the ability to charge the battery extremely quickly, potentially adding large amounts of energy in just a few minutes. In some reports, the battery can charge from 10% to 70% in about 5 minutes and from 10% to 97% in just over 9 minutes under normal temperature conditions. Such speeds place the system among the fastest charging technologies ever developed for electric vehicles. Traditionally, longer driving range has come with a trade-off. Larger batteries require more time to recharge. Even with modern fast-charging systems, many EVs take between 20 and 40 minutes to charge from 10 to 80%. BYD appears to be attempting to break that limitation by developing ultra-fast charging infrastructure capable of delivering up to 1,500 kilowatts of power. To understand how dramatic that is, it helps to compare it with existing charging systems. Most fast chargers currently available provide between 150 and 350 kilowatts, while some experimental systems are beginning to reach around 500 kilowatts. A 1,500 kilowatt charger represents a massive leap beyond current standards. Achieving such charging speeds is not only about building more powerful charging stations. The battery itself must be capable of safely accepting enormous electrical currents. When a battery charges too quickly, it generates heat, and excessive heat can degrade the battery or create safety risks. Therefore, achieving ultra-fast charging requires improvements in electrode materials, cell structure, cooling systems, and battery management software. The blade battery's long, thin cell structure may help with heat dissipation because it allows heat to spread more evenly across the battery pack. This reduces the risk of localized hot spots, which are one of the main causes of battery degradation. Another remarkable feature of the new battery is its performance in extremely cold conditions. Traditional lithium-ion batteries struggle in cold weather because low temperatures slow down the movement of lithium ions between the battery's electrodes. As a result, charging becomes slower and less efficient. Many electric vehicles even need to preheat their batteries before fast charging can begin. However, tests suggest that BYD's new battery can charge from about 20% to 97% in roughly 12 minutes even at temperatures as low as -30 degrees Celsius. For the battery industry, such performance is almost unprecedented. This capability indicates significant advances in thermal management and possibly new electrode materials that reduce internal resistance within the battery. Lower resistance allows ions to move more freely even in extremely cold environments. In addition, integrated battery heating systems may help maintain optimal temperatures during charging. Safety is another crucial area where BYD has focused its efforts. China has introduced some of the strictest battery safety standards in the world, requiring that a battery pack must not catch fire or explode for at least 2 hours after a single cell experiences thermal runaway. BYD claims that its blade battery meets these strict standards, and demonstrations have shown multiple nail penetration tests where the battery pack does not ignite. This level of safety engineering is particularly important because concerns about battery fires have often been cited as a major risk associated with electric vehicles. Alongside improvements in battery technology, BYD has also been transforming the broader architecture of its vehicles. The adoption of giga casting allows large portions of the car's frame to be manufactured as single pieces, reducing weight and simplifying production. A lighter structure improves efficiency, allowing each kilowatt-hour of stored energy to move the vehicle farther. Structural redesigns have also allowed newer models to include additional features such as larger cargo compartments and front trunks. When all of these improvements are considered together, the picture becomes clearer. BYD is not simply upgrading a battery pack. It is optimizing the entire electric vehicle ecosystem, from battery cells and thermal management to vehicle structure and charging infrastructure. In addition to its advancements with lithium iron phosphate technology, BYD is also exploring another battery chemistry aimed at achieving a completely different objective, drastically reducing the cost of electric vehicles. This technology is the sodium-ion battery. Sodium is one of the most abundant elements on Earth and is widely available in sea salt. Unlike lithium, its supply is not limited to specific geographic regions. Sodium-ion batteries also avoid the use of expensive metals like cobalt and nickel. For many years, however, sodium-ion technology was considered promising but impractical for electric vehicles because of its lower energy density. Sodium ions are significantly larger and heavier than lithium ions, which makes it more difficult for them to move through electrode materials efficiently. As a result, earlier sodium batteries typically achieved energy densities of only around 100 to 120 watt-hours per kilogram. BYD claims that its new sodium-ion battery design can reach approximately 175 watt-hours per kilogram, representing a major improvement over previous versions. Although this is still lower than high-end lithium batteries, it may be sufficient for many types of vehicles, especially smaller urban cars. More importantly, the company has reportedly addressed several technical challenges that once limited sodium-ion batteries, including sodium plating during charging, which can damage the battery and reduce its lifespan. Through improvements in materials and cell design, BYD claims to have achieved an extremely durable battery capable of up to 10,000 charge cycles. If verified, this lifespan would far exceed that of most lithium-ion batteries currently used in electric vehicles. A battery with 10,000 cycles could potentially last decades, meaning the battery might outlast many other components of the car itself. If sodium-ion batteries can be produced at large scale, their cost could fall dramatically, potentially reaching around $19 per kilowatt-hour. For comparison, LFP batteries today still cost roughly $60 per kilowatt-hour. A reduction of this magnitude could make electric vehicles significantly cheaper than they are today. Some estimates suggest that small electric cars in the future could cost around $15,000 while still offering long lifespans and reliable performance. When that happens, electric vehicles would no longer be niche products for early adopters but affordable transportation options for hundreds of millions of people around the world. Taken together, these developments reveal a broader strategy. BYD is investing heavily in multiple battery technologies, each aimed at solving a different challenge. The Blade battery focuses on performance, safety, and ultra-fast charging, potentially allowing EVs to match or exceed the range and convenience of gasoline vehicles. Sodium-ion batteries, on the other hand, aim to reduce costs and make electric transportation accessible to a much larger population. If these technologies continue to advance and achieve large-scale production, the future of electric vehicles could look dramatically different from what many people once imagined. Cars may travel as far as gasoline vehicles, recharge almost as quickly as refueling, and cost less to purchase and maintain. In that future, batteries will not simply power vehicles, they will redefine the entire transportation industry.